This is how one sunrise we cut down them canoes. Philo said smiles for the tourists who try taking his soul with their cameras. Once wind bring the news in the Laurier canals, their leaves start shaking the minute the axe of sunlight hit the cedars because they could see the axes in our own eyes. Wind lift the ferns. They sound like the sea that feed us fishermen all our life. And the ferns nodded, yes, the trees have to die. So, fists jam in our jacket, cause the heights was cold and our breath-making feathers like the mist we passed the rum. When it came back, it gave us the spirit to turn into murderers. I lift up the axe and pray for strength in my hands to wound the first cedar. Dew was filling my eyes, but I fire one more white rum. Then we advance. For some extra silver, under a sea almond, he shows them a scar made by a rusted anchor, rolling one trouser leg up with the rising moan of a conch. It has puckered like the corolla of a sea urchin. He does not explain its cure. It have some things, he smiles, worth more than $1. He has left it to the garrulous waterfall to pour out his secret down the La Sucia, since the tall laurels fell, for the ground dove's mating call to pass on its note to the blue, tacit mountains, whose talkative brooks, carrying it to the sea, turn into idle pools where the clear minnows shoot, and an egret stalks the reeds with one rusted cry as it stabs and stabs the mud with one lifting foot. Then silence is sawn in half by a dragonfly as eels sign their names along the clear bottom sand. When the sunrise brightens the river's memory and the waves of huge ferns are nodding to the sea's sound. Although smoke forgets the earth from which it ascends, and nettles guard the holes where the laurels were killed, an iguana hears the axes, clouding each lens over its lost name when the hunched island was called Luanolo, where the iguana is found. But taking its own time, the iguana will scale the rigging of vines in a year. Its dewlap fanned, its elbows akimbo, its deliberate tail moving with the island. The slit pods of its eyes ripened in a pause that lasted for centuries, that rose with the arawak smoke till a new race, unknown to the lizard, stood measuring the trees. These were their pillars that fell, leaving a blue space for a single god where the old god stood before. The first god was a Gomer. The generator began with a whine, and a shark with sidewise jaw sent the chips flying like mackerel over water into trembling weeds. Now they cut off the saw, still hot and shaking, to examine the wound it had made. They scraped off its gangrenous moss, then ripped the wound clear of the net of vines that still bound it to this earth, and nodded. The generator whipped back to its work, and the chips flew much faster as the shark's teeth gnawed evenly. They covered their eyes from the splintering nest. Now, over the pastures of bananas, the island lifts its horns. Sunrise trickled down its valleys. Blood splashed on the cedars, and the grove flooded with the light of sacrifice. A gommier was cracking, its leaves an enormous tarpaulin with the rich pole gone. The creaking sound made the fishermen leap back at the angling mast, lean forward, lean slowly towards the troughs of ferns. Then the ground shuddered under the beating waves. Then the waves passed. That's chapter 1, Omeros.